Today, I want to share with you a message that has the power to transform your life. It's a simple idea, yet its impact can be profound. Stop majoring in minor things. To identify your priorities is to lay the foundation for a meaningful and fulfilling life. In a world overflowing with distractions, competing demands, and constant noise, knowing what truly matters to you is an act of clarity and courage. Without clear priorities, we can easily find ourselves adrift, spending time and energy on activities that do little to contribute to our happiness or growth. Defining your priorities is not just about choosing where to focus. It's about taking control of your life and aligning your actions with your deepest values and goals. The first step in identifying your priorities is self-reflection. Take the time to ask yourself some critical questions. What truly matters to me? What brings me joy and fulfillment? What do I want to accomplish in life? The answers to these questions may not come immediately, and that's okay. Self-discovery is a process that requires patience and honesty. It's about stripping away societal expectations, external pressures, and even the habits you've developed over time to uncover what resonates with your authentic self. Once you've begun to clarify your values, it's essential to align your actions with them. This means looking at how you currently spend your time and asking whether those activities reflect what you care about most. For instance, if you say that your family is a top priority but rarely make time for meaningful conversations with your loved ones, there's a disconnect. If personal growth is important to you but you spend most of your free time on unproductive habits, it's time to reevaluate. Alignment requires relationships. Maintaining your health and pursuing your dreams may not always feel urgent, but they are deeply important. Ignoring them can lead to regret and dissatisfaction over time. Saying yes to your priorities also means saying no to other things. This can be difficult, especially if you're someone who struggles with people pleasing or feels guilty about turning down opportunities. However, every yes you give is also a no to something else. By saying yes to unimportant commitments, you may be inadvertently saying no to the things that matter most. Learning to set boundaries and protect your time is a vital skill. It's not about being selfish, it's about being purposeful. It's also important to remember that priorities can change over time. Life is not static, and neither are your values and goals. What may have been a priority in your 20s might not hold the same significance in your 40s. Regularly reassessing your priorities ensures that they remain relevant and aligned with who you are now. This process requires flexibility and a willingness to adapt to new circumstances, challenges, and opportunities. In identifying your priorities, you also create a sense of purpose. Purpose gives your life direction and meaning. It motivates you to keep going even when things get tough and provides a sense of satisfaction that comes from knowing you are living intentionally. Without clear priorities, life can feel chaotic and unfulfilling, as if you're constantly spinning your wheels without making real. Ultimately, identifying your priorities is about choosing to live deliberately rather than by default. It's about understanding that your time and energy are limited resources, and that where you invest them determines the quality of your life. When you prioritize what truly matters, you give yourself the freedom to focus on what brings you joy, fulfillment, and a lasting sense of accomplishment. And in doing so, you stop majoring in minor things and start living a life that truly reflects your highest values. Avoiding the trap of perfectionism is a vital step toward living a fulfilling and productive life. While striving for excellence can be a positive quality, perfectionism often crosses the line into an unhealthy obsession with minor details and unrealistic standards. It can hold you back, consume your energy, and prevent you from making meaningful progress in the areas that truly matter. Recognizing and breaking free from this trap is essential to reclaiming your time, energy, and mental well-being. Perfectionism often stems from a fear of failure or criticism. Many people equate their worth with their ability to achieve flawless results, believing that anything less than perfect is a reflection of inadequacy. This mindset can be paralyzing, leading to procrastination and self-doubt. When perfection becomes the goal, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the task, causing delays or even complete avoidance. The fear of making mistakes often prevents people from taking action, leaving their potential untapped and their goals unfulfilled. One of the most significant downsides of perfectionism is the way it shifts focus to minor, inconsequential details. Perfectionists often spend excessive amounts of time tweaking and refining aspects of a project that may not even be noticeable to others. While attention to detail has its place, obsessing over insignificant elements can detract from the bigger picture. For example, spending hours formatting a presentation perfectly may not add any real value if the content itself is strong and impactful. By majoring in these minor aspects, perfectionists risk missing deadlines, losing opportunities, and wasting valuable time. Another issue with perfectionism is that it can lead to burnout. The constant pressure to perform flawlessly is exhausting, both mentally and physically. It creates a cycle of stress and anxiety, as there is always something that can be improved or redone. Over time, this relentless pursuit of perfection can erode your motivation, sap your creativity, and diminish your overall enjoyment of life. The irony is that perfectionism often leads to diminished productivity and lower quality work because the focus is on avoiding failure rather than achieving meaningful success. To escape the trap of perfectionism, it's important to embrace a mindset of progress over perfection. Progress recognizes that growth and improvement are gradual processes, and that small, consistent steps are more valuable than waiting for the perfect moment or outcome. By focusing on progress, you shift your attention from unattainable standards to achievable goals. This approach not only builds momentum, but also allows you to celebrate your achievements along the way, boosting your confidence and motivation. Another key strategy is to redefine success. Instead of measuring yourself against impossible standards, focus on the impact and value of your work. Ask yourself whether your efforts are achieving the desired result rather than whether they meet an idealized vision of perfection. This shift in perspective helps you prioritize what truly matters and lets go of unnecessary stress. For example, if you're writing an article, focus on whether it communicates your message effectively rather than agonizing over every word choice or comma placement. It's also essential to cultivate self-compassion. Recognize that no one is perfect and that making mistakes is a natural part of learning and growing. Instead of being overly critical of yourself, treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Accept that flaws and imperfections do not define your worth or capabilities. This mindset not only reduces the pressure you place on yourself, but also encourages resilience and a willingness to take risks. Setting realistic expectations is another powerful way to counter perfectionism. Understand that not everything requires the same level of effort and attention. Some tasks may demand excellence, while others simply need to be completed efficiently. Prioritize your efforts based on the importance and impact of each task, and allow yourself to let go of perfection in areas where it's not necessary. Finally, remember that done is often better than perfect. A completed project, even if it's not flawless, is more valuable than an unfinished masterpiece. Taking action, learning from the experience, and iterating as needed is far more productive than being stuck in an endless cycle of revision and hesitation. By embracing imperfection and focusing on what truly matters, you free yourself to achieve more, grow faster, and live a more balanced and satisfying life. Practicing mindful decision-making is an essential skill for leading a purposeful and fulfilling life. In today's fast-paced world where distractions abound and demands on our attention are constant, it's easy to make decisions on autopilot, reacting to circumstances rather than acting with intention. However, every decision you make, big or small, shapes your life in significant ways. By approaching decisions mindfully, you can ensure that your choices align with your values, priorities, and long-term goals. Mindful decision-making begins with awareness. Too often, people rush into decisions without fully understanding the implications or considering their motivations. This can lead to choices driven by habit, pressure, or fleeting emotions. For example, you might say yes to a commitment out of guilt or fear of disappointing someone, even though it doesn't serve your best interests. Practicing mindfulness means pausing to reflect before deciding. Ask yourself, why am I making this choice? What do I hope to gain? Does this align with my values and goals? This moment of self-reflection can prevent impulsive decisions and ensure that your actions are purposeful. Another aspect of mindful decision-making is considering the long-term impact of your choices. Many people prioritize immediate gratification or short-term convenience over what's best for their future. While it might feel easier to avoid a challenging conversation or postpone a difficult task, these decisions can create larger problems down the line. Mindful decision-making requires looking beyond the present moment and asking, how will this choice affect me tomorrow, next month, or even years from now? This forward-thinking perspective helps you prioritize what truly matters and avoid regrets. It's also important to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important. Many decisions are driven by a sense of urgency, often imposed by external pressures or societal expectations. However, just because something feels urgent doesn't mean it deserves your attention. Mindful decision-making involves evaluating whether a task or choice, for instance, responding immediately to every email might feel productive, but it can distract you from deep, meaningful work. By focusing on what is important rather than simply urgent, you can make better use of your time and energy. Mindful decision-making also involves learning to say no. Every yes you give represents a commitment of your time, energy, and resources. When you agree to something that doesn't align with your priorities, you're effectively saying no to something else that might be more valuable. Many people struggle with saying no because they fear conflict, rejection, or being perceived as unkind. However, setting boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect and clarity. By saying no to what doesn't serve you, you create space for what truly matters. A key part of this process is practicing self-awareness and understanding your personal triggers and patterns. For instance, some people tend to make decisions based on fear, while others are influenced by the desire for approval or the fear of missing out. Recognizing these tendencies allows you to approach decisions with greater objectivity and intentionality. If you know that you often overcommit because you dislike disappointing others, you can remind yourself that your time and energy are finite and that prioritizing yourself is necessary for your well-being. Mindful decision-making also involves tuning into your intuition. While logic and analysis are valuable tools, they are not the only factors to consider. Sometimes your gut feeling or inner voice can provide valuable insights that logic alone might overlook. Pay attention to how a decision makes you feel. If something feels off, it's worth exploring why. Similarly, if a choice excites and energizes you, it's likely aligned with your passions and values. Balancing intuition with rational thought can lead to more holistic and satisfying decisions. Another critical element is practicing non-attachment to outcomes. It's natural to want a specific result from your decisions, but the reality is that outcomes are often influenced by factors beyond your control. Clinging too tightly to an expected result can lead to stress, disappointment, and second guessing. Mindful decision-making emphasizes focusing on the process rather than the outcome. Make the best choice you can with the information and resources available to you and trust that you can adapt to whatever unfolds. Finally, mindful decision-making requires regular reflection and reassessment. Life is dynamic and circumstances change. Decisions that made sense at one point may no longer align with your current goals or values. By periodically reviewing your choices and their outcomes, you can learn from your experiences and make adjustments as needed. This ongoing process of reflection ensures that you remain aligned with your purpose and continue to grow. In summary, practicing mindful decision-making is about making intentional choices that align with your values, priorities, and long-term vision. It requires self-awareness, reflection, and the courage to say no when necessary. By approaching decisions mindfully, you can lead a more deliberate, purposeful, and fulfilling life, free from the distractions and pressures that often lead us astray. Worrying about others' opinions is one of the most common yet debilitating habits that can hold us back from living our fullest, most authentic lives. It's human nature to seek connection and validation. But when this desire turns into an obsession with pleasing others or conforming to their expectations, it becomes a significant barrier to personal growth and happiness. Breaking free from this pattern is essential for building confidence, pursuing your passions, and living a life true to yourself. The need for external validation often stems from a deep-seated fear of rejection or judgment. We worry about what others think because we don't want to feel excluded, criticized, or misunderstood. While this concern may have evolutionary roots, ensuring survival in tightly knit communities, modern life does not require constant approval from others. Yet, many people carry this outdated instinct into their daily lives, allowing it to dictate their choices, behavior, and even their sense of self-worth. One of the biggest problems with worrying about others' opinions is that it places control of your life in someone else's hands. Every decision you make, whether it's your career path, lifestyle, or even how you dress, becomes influenced by how you think others will perceive it. This mindset often leads to compromising your values, hiding your true self, or pursuing goals that don't align with your passions. The result is a life that feels unfulfilled and disconnected because it's not being lived on your terms. It's also important to recognize that no matter how hard you try, you cannot please everyone. People view the world through their own unique lens, shaped by their experiences, beliefs, and preferences. What one person admires, another might criticize. Attempting to cater to everyone's expectations is not only impossible, but also exhausting. The time and energy spent worrying about others' opinions could be better used for pursuing your own growth, dreams, and happiness. Breaking free from this habit starts with understanding that people think about you far less than you imagine. Most of us overestimate how much others pay attention to our actions, choices, and perceived flaws. Psychologists refer to this as the spotlight effect, where we feel like we're always in the spotlight when in reality, people are often too preoccupied with their own. Accepting this truth can be liberating. It allows you to let go of unnecessary worry and focus on what truly matters to you. Another crucial step is developing a strong sense of self. When you have clarity about your values, beliefs, and goals, the opinions of others naturally hold less weight. This doesn't mean you should ignore constructive feedback or close yourself off from differing perspectives. Rather, it's about distinguishing between opinions that are helpful and those that are irrelevant or unkind. Grounding yourself in your own identity creates an inner compass that guides your decisions, even in the face of criticism or judgment. Practicing self-compassion is also essential. Worrying about others' opinions often stems from a fear of failure or not being good enough. By treating yourself with kindness and understanding, you build resilience against external negativity. Remind yourself that you are human and that imperfection is a natural part of life. The more you accept and love yourself as you are, the less dependent you'll be on others' approval. Another powerful strategy is to shift your focus from seeking approval to creating impact. Instead of worrying about how people perceive you, focus on how your actions align with your values and contribute positively to the world around you. When you prioritize living authentically and making a difference, the opinions of others become secondary. You begin to measure success not by external validation, but by your own sense of purpose and fulfillment. It's also helpful to surround yourself with supportive people who respect and appreciate you for who you are. While it's impossible to avoid criticism entirely, having a strong support network can buffer the impact of negative opinions. These relationships remind you that you are valued and accepted, regardless of what others may think. Lastly, remember that the opinions of others often reflect more about them than about you. People project their insecurities, biases, and fears onto others, which can influence their judgments. For instance, someone who criticizes your ambition might be grappling with their own unfulfilled goals. Recognizing this can help you detach from external negativity and view it with compassion rather than taking it personally. In the end, worrying less about others' opinions is about reclaiming your freedom to live authentically. It's about realizing that your worth is not determined by external validation, but by your own sense of self-respect and purpose. By letting go of the need to constantly please others, you open the door to a life that is richer, more meaningful, and truly your own. Simplifying your life is one of the most effective ways to regain control over your time, energy, and focus. In a world that often equates busyness with success, it's easy to fall into the trap of overcomplication, juggling too many responsibilities, accumulating unnecessary possessions, and engaging in activities that don't align with your values. However, simplicity is not about doing less for the sake of doing less. It's about doing more of what truly matters. It's about clearing away the excess and creating space for the things that bring meaning and joy to your life. One of the first steps to simplifying your life is decluttering, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. Physical clutter, whether it's a chaotic workspace, an overflowing closet, or a home filled with unused items, can contribute to feelings of stress and overwhelm. Studies have shown that cluttered environments can increase anxiety and make it harder to concentrate. By letting go of things you no longer need, you create a sense of order and calm that positively impacts your mental state. This doesn't mean you have to live a minimalist lifestyle, but it does mean being intentional about what you keep and why. Ask yourself, does this item add value to my life? If the answer is no, it might be time to let it go. Mental clutter, on the other hand, comes from overthinking, worrying, and constantly multitasking. Many of us carry a mental to-do list that never seems to end, leaving us feeling overwhelmed and distracted. Simplifying your life mentally involves prioritizing what's important and letting go of the rest. One effective method is to practice mindfulness, which encourages you to focus on the present moment rather than being consumed by the past or future. Another strategy is to write down your tasks and commitments, categorize them by importance and urgency. This practice helps you see what truly needs your attention and allows you to let go of unnecessary worries. Emotional clutter often comes from holding on to past grievances, toxic relationships, or unhelpful thought patterns. Simplifying emotionally means setting boundaries, forgiving yourself and others, and cultivating healthier habits of thought. Letting go of relationships or commitments that drain your energy can be difficult, but it's a necessary step toward creating a life that feels lighter and more fulfilling. Surrounding yourself with positive influences and focusing on gratitude can also help clear emotional clutter, giving you the freedom to move forward without being weighed down by negativity. Simplifying your schedule is another essential component of this process. Many people fill their days with activities and commitments out of habit, obligation, or fear of missing out. However, being busy doesn't always equate to being productive or fulfilled. Take a close look at how you spend your time and identify areas where you can scale back. Are there meetings you could decline, tasks you could delegate, or social obligations you could reduce? By saying no to things that don't align with your priorities, you create space for the activities and relationships that truly matter. Financial simplicity is also a powerful way to reduce stress and create more freedom in your life. Many people find themselves caught in the cycle of earning, spending, and accumulating, only to feel unfulfilled despite their material possessions. Simplifying financially doesn't necessarily mean living frugally. It means being intentional about how you use your money. Focus on spending in ways that align with your values, off non-essential notifications, and taking regular breaks from social media. By reducing digital distractions, you can reclaim your time and focus for more meaningful pursuits. At its core, simplifying your life is about intentionality, choosing what to keep and what to let go of based on what aligns with your values and goals. It's about recognizing that you don't have to do everything, own everything, or be everything to everyone. When you simplify, you free yourself from the noise and clutter that can cloud your vision and drain your energy. You create room for clarity, creativity, and connection. You give yourself the gift of time to pursue your passions, nurture your relationships, and simply be. Ultimately, simplifying your life is not just about making things easier, it's about making life more meaningful. By removing what doesn't serve you, you can focus on what truly matters, leading to greater peace, fulfillment, and joy. It's a reminder that sometimes less really is more. Embracing failure as a learning opportunity is one of the most transformative shifts you can make in your life. Failure, often viewed as something to avoid at all costs, is actually a powerful tool for growth and improvement. When you stop fearing failure and instead see it as an essential part of the journey, you open yourself up to new possibilities, increase resilience, and a deeper understanding of what it takes to succeed. The fear of failure often stems from the desire to avoid disappointment, shame, or rejection. Society frequently associates failure with weakness or inadequacy, making it uncomfortable and something to be avoided at all costs. However, this mindset creates a barrier to progress. The truth is, every successful person has experienced failure. What sets them apart is not the avoidance of failure, but their ability to learn from it and move forward. When you see failure as a stepping stone rather than a setback, it becomes a catalyst for innovation, self-improvement, and eventual success. Each failure offers valuable lessons that can't be learned from success alone. It teaches you about your strengths, your limitations, and areas where you need to grow. For example, failing at a project may reveal a gap in your skills or highlight an aspect of your approach that needs refinement. Instead of dwelling on the negative emotions associated with failure, focus on extracting the lessons it offers. This mindset shift helps you approach future challenges with a more informed and flexible outlook. Additionally, failure builds resilience and mental toughness. When you experience setbacks and choose to persist despite them, you develop the ability to cope with adversity. This resilience becomes a crucial tool as you encounter new challenges. Over time, you learn that failure does not define your worth or dictate your future. It is simply a part of the process. With each failure, you build greater confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Ultimately, embracing failure allows you to take risks and pursue goals that are aligned with your true potential. When you're no longer afraid of making mistakes, you're free to innovate, experiment, and grow. Failure becomes not something to fear, but a necessary part of the path toward success.